ready.
Hello and what is up guys, my name is Pixel Polish and welcome to Vita News E3 2014 special. To those who felt disappointed after the Sony E3 press conference, I say don't be, and I'll tell you exactly why during this show, so without further ado, let's get to the news. First, let's start with a big hitter for all the Vita fans. PlayStation TV, formerly known as PlayStation Vita TV, was officially announced and it will be released in North America and Europe this fall in classy black. For those of you who don't know what PlayStation TV is, in short, it's basically a PlayStation Vita with no screen and HDMI output so you can plug it into your TV and control it with either DualShock 3 or DualShock 4. It runs most PS Vita games, both physical and digital, and all the digital PSP and PS1 titles. It will also allow you to stream PS4 games from your main console as well as support PlayStation Now, so you will be able to play some PlayStation 3 games as well. It's also a TV set-top box if you're interested in that. The standalone unit will cost you $99, 99 euros or 85 pounds, while a bundle with a DualShock 3 controller, 8GB memory card, HDMI cable, USB cable and a LEGO movie video game is priced at $139.99 or your original equivalent. Not only that, but PlayStation Vita TV has instantly become a bestseller on Amazon where you can place your pre-orders right now. It even beat its biggest competitor, the Nintendo 3DS XL Silver Mario and Luigi Dream Team Limited Edition. The PS TV bundle is holding a 4th place on the bestsellers list, and both packages are number 1 and 2 on the most wished for list. This is amazing, guys! I can't even tell you how happy I am right now. I knew it was coming after analyzing all the Sony marketing moves in Asia and their statement made last year that they will have to approach Western market differently. So expect some top-notch Vita games footage on my channel once this baby gets delivered to my doorstep. I am really excited and I really cannot wait for this. Let's move to the free-to-play announcement for PlayStation Vita and in extension PlayStation TV. I'm gonna cram all the games into this one section without going too much into details because I will cover these games in the future or I have covered them already. So first one is Guns Up, a strategy game where players take on the role of a general, managing resources, deploying troops, landmines, airstrikes and smoke screens to destroy and conquer new territories. Next one on the list is Fat Princess Piece of Cake, a match 3 puzzler taking place in the Fat Princess universe, where you will be controlling 4 different characters to save the princess. Another free-to-play title is Big Fest, a music festival manager game made by Jamendo, a well-known source of indie music on the internet. The game features real artists that you can find on jamendo.com, and your goal is to build your own mega festival as well as to visit other players' festival to either help them or sabotage them. My Singing Monsters is yet another freebie on the list. It's a world-building game where players collect and breed monsters that, unsurprisingly, sing, play and dance. The game was already released on the mobile platforms, but the PS Vita version will feature exclusive Yostrich and Gjab monsters that will enhance your island. And lastly there's Reaper, an action RPG title that I have already covered in the last episode in Vita News, so go ahead and check that out. Let's move to another multi-games section of the show, presenting the incoming Vita titles from the publisher Devolver Digital, all retro-inspired and all awesome. Number 1, Broforce, an action game in which you play as, and I quote, 80s and 90s action hero waging war against terror in almost entirely destructible nostalgic setting. Broforce is an over-the-top action game that should appeal to any Metal Slug fans. Most of you should be already quite familiar with the title, but it's great to see it coming to PlayStation Vita. The game will support up to 4-player online co-op, so you will be able to kick some terrorist asses with your friends. Number 2, Hotline Miami 2 Wrong Number. Do I even have to explain this game? Hotline Miami 1 was one of the best-selling Vita games and was often described as a game best played on this particular platform. Fans of the original can expect, and I quote again, the trademark fast-paced combat and intense soundtrack, but with new twists and turns as the narrative shifts between different factions affected by the events of Hotline Miami. Number 3, Not a Hero. From the developer of Oli Oli comes a 2.25D cover-based shooter best described as a mix of elevator action, Hotline Miami and Gunpoint combined to make something that felt absolutely magical and altogether unique from the aforementioned games. If you enjoyed any of the titles I've mentioned, you should feel right at home with Not a Hero. And there comes number 4, Titan Souls. Developed by Acid Nerve, Titan Souls is a game inspired by minimalist games like Shadow of the Colossus and the intensely challenging Dark Souls. It tells a story of an unnamed hero on a quest to defeat 24 of ancient titans armed with nothing but a single indestructible arrow. There are no classes, no crafting, no side quests and no grind in Titan Souls, just the player's skill and the titans to find and destroy. To sum it all up, Devolver's digital support for PlayStation Vita is commendable to say the least. Hotline Miami 2 is coming later this year, while the rest of the games will be released in early 2015. Time to move on to PS Vita games that got successfully kickstarted and are getting closer to release: Hyper Light Drifter and MechRunner. This is the last section with multiple games, I promise. So, let's start with Hyper Light Drifter, a retro-style 2D action RPG. According to the developer, the game plays like the best parts of Zelda: A Link to the Past and Diablo, and looking at the trailer I must say I believe them. Despite being a pixel art game like many other indie productions, Hyper Light Drifter manages to maintain a very original and sleek art style. Players in the game take on the role of drifters, collecting forgotten technology and history while scouring the lands for hints of the lost civilization. It combines intense combat with some elements of survival games. Hyper Light Drifter was originally announced for the Vita early this year, but I thought it's worth to mention it after the E3 trailer was released and the announcement was made way before I even started making this show. The second game on my Kickstarter list is MechRunner. As the title would suggest, is a free runner game like Temple Run and the likes, but with sword-wielding mechs and AAA graphics. MechRunner's story follows a rogue scientist and his niece who built a 40-foot-tall, mode-changing mech in order to fight back against an invading robotic army fueled by mysterious alien power source. It's a free runner game with an action-packed twist. The mech can transform on the fly into a tank that shoots various explosives, and while in humanoid form it wields a huge phase sword and a light gun. MechRunner also features RPG-like progression systems, allowing players to unlock upgrades and new weapons. Both games are supposed to come out around this summer, give or take. From a legendary creator, Tim Schafer, comes a remaster of a legendary and critically acclaimed game, Grim Fandango. Well, technically I should say welcome, because the game isn't even ready to be shown yet. The game was originally released back in 1998 on PC and it's one of my favorite adventure games of all time. Set in the neo-noir land of the dead straight from the Mexican folklore, Grim Fandango was clever, funny and challenging at the same time. All the characters in the game were based on Mexican calaca figures used to celebrate the Day of the Dead. I'm thrilled to see the remastered version of this masterpiece being brought to the new generation of gamers, especially since now the game is almost impossible to buy. Japanese retro action game La-Mulana is coming to the PlayStation Vita. All I have to say about this, about goddamn time, you idiots! No, but seriously, not only La-Mulana is finally coming to our beloved handheld, but it will also sport Vita-exclusive features like monster beastry. La-Mulana is a Metroidvania game starring a 30-year-old MSX computer-loving archaeologist investing in the titular ruins. It was originally released in its 8-bit format for free on PC back in 2004 and remastered in 2012 for both PC and WiiWare. I always wanted to see this game on PSP or PS Vita and there we go, the game should land on our Vitas sometime in December. Also, after being successfully kickstarted, La-Mulana 2 is in development, but that's a story for another day. Militant, a 2.5D shooter/platformer game, is coming to the Vita. This one snuck up on us literally out of nowhere during this E3. The game is set in an insectopian world dominated by sentient six-legged species with the war underway. It features smooth 3D animated graphics, a diverse selection of weaponry, action-packed gameplay, epic boss battles and more. Not much else is known about the game at this point other than what you can see in the trailer. The game is set for release sometime in the first quarter of 2015, so keep an eye out for more news about this title. You thought that's it, right? 7 news as usual? Well, guess what? It's in Vita News E3 2014 special with double the content, so here we go. Chilean developer Studio Iguanabi surprised everyone at E3 by showing a trailer for their upcoming game under the working title of Monster Bag. It's not really clear what the game is all about and what its main features are, but judging from the teaser trailer, I would guess that the player will control a strange blue monster that hops between people's bags and somehow influences their behavior as he visits them. There are no details about this game even on the developer's website. All I can tell you that Iguanabi developed titles like Breachers, Wacky Escape and Guns and Gunners, all for mobile platforms. I'll be keeping my eyes on this title, so stay tuned for more news on this title in the future. Citizens of Earth, a game that started as a failing Kickstarter project, is now becoming a full-fledged title lovingly published by Atlus. And yes, you guessed it, it's coming to the Vita. Citizens of Earth is shaping up to be a fantastic comedic turn-based RPG that promises to bring us the gameplay of the legendary SNES classic Earthbound. There are no non-playable characters in the game where you play as a recently selected vice president of the world. Everyone is recruitable and your mission is to save the world from, well, something. Players will not know what exactly is going on with the world and it will be their goal to find out and fix it. The game features 41 different party members hidden in the game's world and players will have to recruit as many of them as possible, from a crazy cat lady to the elusive Sasquatch. There is no firm release date just yet, but a little birdie told me that it might be coming out this fall. Ecuadorian studio Freaky Creations announced that their exploration puzzle game To Live is coming to PlayStation Vita. In To Live, players will take on a role of a young boy named Harm who is trying to leave the city of Candice. According to the developer, the game is a metaphor for the challenges of life, inspired by unhappy relationships, people stuck in unhappy jobs and the fear of venturing out. To Live looks and sounds brilliant and promises evolving gameplay and incredibly difficult yet rewarding level of challenge. It's definitely one of this year's E3 sleeper hits that caught many by surprise, and from what we know so far, it might catch you by surprise sometimes next year. Alexei Pajitnov, the father of Tetris, announced during E3 that Tetris Ultimate is coming to the Vita. Just before the Sony conference started, Alexei spilled the beans during the interview and seemed quite excited about what he has to say. I mean, no wonder, his game was selling like hotcakes for the last, what, 30 years? And being able to bring it to yet another great platform must feel pretty great. Not many developers have developed such timeless classics. The game will feature 6 different game modes, a worldwide leaderboard, as well as both single-player and multiplayer modes. Tetris Ultimate will come to our handheld sometime this fall. 17-Bit, the developer of the turn-based tactical title Skulls of the Shogun, has announced the release of their 2D space shooter called Galak-Z, the Dimensional. As the developer claims, Galak-Z is a modern AI and physics-driven open-world action game viewed through the lens of the classic 16-bit space shooter. It's a space shooter with a twist though. As revealed during this year's E3, it's more like a roguelike game that plays like Halo in procedurally generated space, which I must admit makes the game sounds infinitely more interesting. Galak-Z will be released late summer to early fall on PS4 and PC, and then will be followed quickly by the PlayStation Vita release. The Vita version of the game will include the same content as the big console and the PC versions. Entwined, a title announced for PlayStation 4 during the E3 Sony conference, is also making its way to PS Vita very soon. Entwined is a beautiful love story that was not meant to be, a love between an origami fish and origami bird. The challenge of Entwined comes from controlling both characters at the same time using 2 analog sticks, similar to games like Cookie and Cream or Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. The player's goal is to unite the tragic lovers to create a new entity. The game combines abstract, breathtaking visuals and action arcade gameplay and was inspired by an ancient Chinese myth as well as the theme of reincarnation. Entwined was made available for PS4 during the conference, while the Vita version should appear on the PSN store in about a month. And now for something on a more serious note. I saved this last part for a bit of a bittersweet news to promote a certain social campaign on Twitter and a petition on change.org. On the 10th of June, Sony and Square Enix made a huge announcement on the PlayStation blog. Final Fantasy Type-0 HD was finally coming to PlayStation Vita. The Vita Nation was nagging Square Enix to do this for a long time since the game was originally released in Japan 3 years ago on PSP, so naturally everyone was jumping for joy. Unfortunately, shortly thereafter that same announcement was corrected, saying that the game was in fact coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, not PlayStation Vita at all. I think you can imagine what happened next. Vita owners who fought for this game for so long were furious to say the least. Such a kick in the balls from Square Enix. They even had the audacity to say, "We've heard you and we're bringing you exactly what you asked for." It's an insult to the Vita community and it's an outright slap in the face. It's not that the Vita owners don't want this game to come out on PS4, the more platforms the better, but since the game was supposed to be released on the PSP, it is only natural that the HD version should be made available on the PS Vita as well. The Vita Nation reacted instantly, creating a petition and starting a Twitter campaign that instantly gained a lot of traction. So please, join the cause, guys. We need like 8,000 more signatures to send this petition to the chairman of Square Enix. Sacrifice the 30 seconds of your precious time and sign it. Tweet the hashtag #NoVitaNoBuy to @Square Enix and spread the word. Square could release Final Fantasy X and X-2 Remaster on both home and portable consoles, so I don't see any reason why they couldn't do the same for Final Fantasy Type-0. We just need to push them and push them hard. I will put the links to the petition and to the Square Enix Twitter account in the description below the video, so be sure to check that out. You're losing absolutely nothing, even if you're not a Final Fantasy fan, but you're helping pretty much everyone else in the Vita community. And that is it for Invita News super lengthy E3 special Hyper Remix DX something whatever. As usual, you'll find links to the website and trailers concerning today's topics in the description below. Before you go, please like and share this video, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. By showing me a little support, you help this channel grow. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.
What?